Hey family, good morning. It's Tasha MAMABEAR prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, baby. Pull up. Let's talk about it. So today's a premiere. Thank you for being here. I just want to get into a question that I keep getting, right? I keep getting like, hey, what are you tracking? Can you do a video on like the things that you track on a regular basis? I mean, I think that my videos speak for themselves in regards to the things that I'm tracking, right? I'm constantly tracking diseases, infection diseases, viruses. I'm constantly tracking food, what's happening to food, fires, different things that happen or are happening that have to do with our food, right? And I'm just like you. I'm just preparing for whatever disasters might come our way, right? I'm tracking currently right now. If you just wanted to know today what I'm tracking the CME tonight. Very, very small, being reported to be not very big at all. But again, I like to just put that, even though it's going to be small. Hey, throw your stuff in your Faraday bag. Make sure your Faraday cages are closed up. I don't think that it's going to get, and it's being reported that it's not going to really do any damage like that. But people feel different things, right? People get headaches, feel a little nauseous. Sometimes telephone or internet, is in and out, wonky or whatever. But those are everyday things that we're used to. And so people sometimes don't correlate the two. So CME hitting us tonight, tomorrow. I'm also tracking all these crazy derailments, just like you are, just craziness. What is happening? What is going on? Coincidences are not a thing, you guys. So this just on its face value of just saying, there's a derailment here. There's a derailment here. Now there's a derailment here, right? That's crazy, right? And the last two are like the same day or within a day of each other, right? So it's like the balloon stuff. It's just bonkers, okay? And I could go all the way left with that, which I might over on Patreon. I think we're going to talk about Agenda 2030, and we're going to talk about the derailments, and we're going to talk about the different agendas that this could be playing into, okay? But back to this video, right? So people ask me all the time, so, can you share? Those are the things I'm tracking, and I'm currently tracking Marburg disease. I got an email about listeria, so I guess there's a listeria outbreak. It's not huge. People haven't died. That's in the States, right? And they don't know what food. They haven't actually identified what food that people are getting sick from, right? But I'll tell you, I mean, it can be a multitude of things. Our food is not safe, right? Our food is expiring really quick. The dates do not compute at all, right? I have multiple. First of all, we know fruits and vegetables are expiring within 24 hours. They're on the decline, baby, unless you put them in the fridge. And I'm noticing that even if you put them in the fridge, they're still so declined that they're declining in the fridge. They're not declining the same way with like attracting bugs and they're getting mushy, but they're getting very, very hard because they're already past, right? And we're being sold a product that normally would have lasted a lot longer, and it's not now. Expirations, milk. Our milk went bad. That bad boy of the date on it said it still had like 5 more days, right? But it was stank. When I say stank, you guys, it was bad. Same thing with lunch meats and other different things. Mom, is this good? Well, the date says it's good, but it does not smell good. And then I smell it. Oh, this is not good, right? And this is stuff that we haven't had in the fridge for very long, right? It's not like it's been there for a very long time and maybe there was just... So the thing is like there's a lot going on. And so you have this stuff that's going to pop up. And like right now, for example, listeria, had no idea how people are getting sick. But I'll tell you what, you just need to prepare for sickness and different diseases and different viruses and the next pandemic, of course, that we're already being warned about. Now, what am I doing, or what do I really, really expect? Like, why am I preparing, and what do I really expect? There's the things that I'm tracking, and then there's the things that I expect to happen. Those things are war, disease, famine. 100%. In my heart, I feel those things are coming already upon us. They are coming and they are approaching, right? War is approaching, disease is approaching, and famine is approaching. Those things are happening now. They're getting closer and closer, and we're to the edge where Any of these things are close to just going right over the edge and causing chaos, right? You have a lot of people that are already starving and already having, food insecurities. But I'm talking about famine. I'm talking about famine across the board, like can't get food, like because all this stuff's happening, right? Derailments with our chain of command, with our supply chain, right? How does that affect when it's a chemical coming out of those trains and exploding, which a couple of them are, and how is that affecting the crops? There's so many aspects to this that it is insane. Having a fire in Florida that just happens to sell plastic that has to do with gardening. Like, once again, the gardening, crops, farming type community is worrying about products being burnt up, right? If it's not that, it's fertilizer. If it's not that, it's this. It's always something. If it's not that, your chicken feed all of a sudden is bad. Like, it's just always something everywhere you turn. I almost can't keep up. People are like, what are you tracking? I almost can't keep up. Like, thank God for my Discord channels, because we're all there to feed each other. And as soon as somebody sees something, they're putting it in the feed. If I see it first, I'm putting it in the feed. And thank God, because you can have your head on a swivel and there's so much stuff going on. It is very, very hard to track, okay? It's not the easiest thing to do, right? Especially now with so much happening. And it's almost like it's on purpose, like, then you can't keep your eyes on one thing and say, hey, and stop and question something, because there's so much stuff going on. It's like, oh, squirrel, right? Even for somebody like me, for people like us who are creative thinkers and are sitting here thinking and wise open and want to see this, but it's happening so fast, you almost don't have time to put eyes hardcore on everything that's happening, right? If you ask me the specifics of all the derailments, I don't know the specifics. I know I've read a couple articles on them. I know of what people are saying in the chat rooms and talking about, and that is helpful. Knowledge is power, right? I'm preparing for war, disease, and famine, and I'm concentrating on two things. I'm concentrating on your staples and I'm skills. Right? How do I exclude things? I talked about this, on yesterday's video. It didn't do very well, but to me, I was like, it was genius. It was a genius video, such an important topic to talk about, how we shift from preserved food to a way of life where we are cooking slower, we are cooking with whole foods, whole ingredients, and we're living with less, we're cooking with less, we're taking things into our own hands as far as let's get back to making some of these things. There's so many things on the market that have, 20, 40 ingredients or things in them, and come to find out, a third of those are really bad for you. And it's like you could make the same product with half the ingredients, a quarter of the ingredients, right? And so that's what I mean. Like, it's so important that we get back to that. And also, as preppers, as people who stockpile as well, figuring out and shifting how that stockpile looks different, how that stockpiling becomes more like the Amish and their stockpiling, right? They're stockpiling as well, okay? They're the ultimate preppers, but they're stockpiling whole grains, whole ingredients, right? So that they can take that and then make the food. Slow cooking, baby. Like, we need to get back to that, and we need to change our skill sets. My skills that I'm working on, I want to get more invested in my chickens, making their home the best it can be. I want to get into figuring out their food, really pets and livestock. How do you ensure that you can continue to take care of them in the future? What happens when you can't get the traditional feed food that you're getting for them right now today? What happens when you can't get that? What happens when you can't get the snacks? Are you growing that stuff in the garden? What can you grow? Can you grow, grass for them and different grains from them? Like, what is it that you can put together for them? Fermented feed, making feed last longer. But one day that stuff could be gone. And so it becomes, you have to teach yourself the skill set to be able to feed them after the fact. Same thing with cats, dogs, domesticated animals. How do you feed them afterwards? If you're getting in, as we move forward and get other animals, livestock, it's how, that is the first question is, things go left, EMP, going back to horse and buggy, how do we ensure we have something for that animal to eat? Do we have something on the property? What are they able to eat? Is there something I can grow to offset their diet? What is it, right? Speaking of growing, I'm trying to fine tune my garden. I'm like everybody else. You know, I'm under 5 years as far as a gardener. I think, okay, this is finally going to be, I think this is going to be year 3 for me. I think this is year 3, you guys. And it's like I'm learning every day still. I'm learning from last season, stuff I want to change up, things I want to do differently. Maybe it's just aesthetically, I want to move some things around and make things better. You're learning about how big stuff is, what type of yields you get. That helps you prepare for food preservation and getting the things to be able to get ahead and getting ready for as you harvest to preserve it. So I'm learning to expand, because every year my goal is to make the garden bigger and bigger. Every year you should be making your garden bigger and bigger, right? Or adding to it to make your yield bigger, right? And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bigger garden out. Maybe it's a bigger garden up, or maybe it's fine tuning your skills to get a bigger yield in the space that you had, right? So it's staples and it's skill set, and it's turning your family around, your lifestyle around to doing something more holistic. Speaking of holistic medicine, as you know, is a big thing that I stockpile, that I think is going to be a huge problem in the future of trying to get it. It's going to be regulated. Over-the-counter stuff that's easy to get now is going to be regulated. You're going to have, when we go into conflict with certain countries, India, China, that's the places that the meds come from. So you have to do that stuff. You have to teach yourself medicine. You have to teach yourself holistic stuff. If you didn't have the medicine, you didn't have the things. What do you know about the plants and trees around you and flowers around you that have medicinal properties that can help you, that you can make into a salve or a tincture or a tea or whatever, right? You've got to teach yourself that, right? So skills, that stuff matters, right? And again, I understand that these videos sometimes don't do so well, and especially the ones that I think are probably the most important, they do the worst. And the ones where I'm talking about, this is happening, the sky is falling, get those views. And the thing is the sky is falling, right? And people are like, you're always screaming the sky is falling. And that's the problem, is that nobody sees that it's falling or that it's about to hit. And there is still time to prepare right now. There is still time to go out, buy the things, do the things, learn a skill, make something with your own hands. That could be gardening. That could be taking care of animals. That could be in the kitchen, learning how to cook or how to make a product that you buy now. Learn how to make it and then exclude that product altogether from your home, right? And then you stockpile the core things you needed to make that product so that you can continue to make it. Let's say soap, you make soap. Okay, what are the core things you needed to make that soap? Were you happy with the output? You liked it, you love everything about it. Okay, stop buying the product from the store because it had a bunch of other stuff in it, chemicals and stuff. And then what were those core ingredients that you needed to make that product? And then you stockpile those so that you can make your family soap for the future, right? Whether that's body soap to wash your body, whether that was soap, laundry soap, detergent, whether that was dish soap, whatever, right? There's so much stuff at our fingertips on the internet too to teach you how to do stuff. Like you want to learn how to make a homemade cough syrup, you just put that in the search button in any of the, on IG, on TikTok, and anywhere, and you're going to get somebody who from a minute to longer is going to show you in a video how to make something, how to do it. This is what you need. They've already done the work. Some stuff you need to do another step further and read some stuff, because some stuff, you might not want to take people's word for it, but everything is so at your fingertips that baby, back in the day you wanted to make something random like that and you're like, I don't know. I'd take some guesses. But it wasn't the easiest thing to find, right? And it's so lightning fast now to get stuff, to download stuff, to write out recipes, to write out things and learn how to do things, and then exclude those things from your house, right? I'm going to make homemade cough syrup. I'm going to stockpile the whole ingredients that I need to make that homemade cough syrup. And then maybe that breaks down too. Maybe that cough syrup takes a product that in theory, in long term, you would not be able to just stockpile, like eventually it would run out. So it becomes, how do you replace that piece of it? Or how do you grow that thing or produce that thing that you need, right? you're stockpiling it, but maybe it's an ingredient that you can grow, okay, or that you can get from one of your animals, a livestock, right? Taking it back to our ancestors, right? Learning where this stuff truly comes from, and then stockpiling that stuff, making that stuff, and then excluding all this stuff that has so much stuff in it, okay? I'm watching all the same crazy stuff in the world that you are, all of the same crazy stuff, right? It's very rare that I get it used to be very rare that I would get an email or a message, be like, did you hear about this? And I'd heard about it, even though maybe I hadn't done a video or hadn't gotten to do a video. I was already tracking it. But these days, baby, stuff is happening so fast that I'm getting notified about stuff and I'm like, what? Or I'm hearing somebody will spout something out in a chat room, right? There'll be a live or something and somebody will say something and you're like, what? And then you got to go and you research, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going on. So it's a constant now. And so try not to let yourself get spun up too much. Somebody made a good comment on my on a video. I don't know which video it was, yesterday or the day before, with this last week. And it said something like, maybe you should just stop watching news because it could be very toxic. And the comment was like, well, I have to watch the news because that's my job. But the comment is true, right? You've got to pull back sometimes and just say, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. Take your breaks. I don't want you to... What does hurt my soul is folks that have decided they're not going to watch news, or they have no TVs in their houses. They're not going to watch news. They're not going to read news. They're not going to get it on their phone. Basically, they've just said news altogether. Nope, I don't want anything to do with news. But the problem with that is that you have to still know what is happening around the world so that you can make the best decisions for you and your family. So you can be ahead of just the smallest thing, right? If anything, like local weather should be something that you could be looking at, knowing when storms are coming. I mean, do you need to know and wake up and watch the weather every day and have the lady tell you exactly what the temperature is going to be and this is happening and we're going to get rain today? Maybe not, right? You have instruments, you can buy some thermometers outside, you can, do the thing, right? And you can kind of figure out and learn the clouds and stuff. But it's very hard for a lot of people to determine when a hardcore storm. It's one thing to look at the thing and be like, okay, there's a storm coming. I see them clouds way off in the distance, right? Then to know the severity of that storm, right? And because that determines your level of preparedness possibly for you and your family. And so, to turn off news completely, I think is not maybe the way that I would suggest. But I 100% agree that breaks are needed. And especially if it's messing you up mentally, physically, emotionally, your anxiety levels, your stress levels, that is a sign to step back and take a break, right? It's the same thing for channels like this. Like if you start to feel anxiety and stuff, that's not the point. Like, step back. This is not the be all end all. This is not like, this is the news. This has to happen. No, like, who cares about this channel, right? What's important is your health, our health, and moving forward with that and trying to pay attention to what's going on, but not letting it make you go literally crazy. And this is stuff that we talk about all the time. We talk about this on Patreon. We talk about this in the Discords. We talk about this on this channel and all the comments and stuff, the different things that people are feeling, right? So try not to let it get consume you, right? You want to stay in control. And if that means stepping back from something and taking a breather and shifting it, then shift it, right? If there's an urgency to prep, but you're like, I need a break, switch it to something fun with the kids then, right? You guys go prep some M&Ms, go prep some game boards, go prep some fun stuff, right? Go out in the garden and be like, what do you want to grow? What do you want to plant? Let's go plant it, right? Let's go to the nursery. Take the kids to the nursery and go look at plants and trees and pick out some stuff and come home, right? Plant a tree, right? There's so much like low level stuff that you could do that's fun with kids. That's still a form of preparedness. You go to the nursery with your child and you go get you an apple tree, right? Get you a couple of them, right? Plant them. That's amazing. When you have that memory with your child forever, okay? Your child got to do something with you. They're part of the preparedness. You're still prepping, baby, okay? So that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of stuff that it doesn't have to be hardcore. Like, I just gotta can. I just gotta keep canning until I can't can no more. And you're up all hours and you're doing Mylar and you're doing all this stuff and you're doing 2 hauls a day. It's just not, there's no point in that. Okay. Remember, this is supposed to be a lifestyle. You're supposed to be enjoying your everyday. You're supposed to be, doing the things, but it's supposed to be embedded in your life to where it's natural. Okay. You know, I get up and I'm serious when I say my only thought is, let's get some coffee and let's just sit down and kind of see what's going on. And I'm just perusing through stuff. I'm not stressing like, what's the news? Oh, I heard this happened last night. Oh, they said this in the Discord. Let me Google this real quick. Like, none of that is going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm perusing through the news. I'm looking at some news apps. I'm looking at some YouTube. You know, we go out, we do the chickens. We walk the property. I walk the property, you know, and I say property. We have half acre here. But I walk it every morning just to see what's happened overnight. Anything out of place? Do I see anything different, right? You always pay attention to your surroundings. You know, it's just very, very chill. There's no like stress. Even when sometimes the time gets away from me and I really have no idea what I'm going to talk about, eventually it comes to me. Maybe I talk to God for a little bit. Hey, can you help me out here? What do you want me to talk about today? What are we doing? Right? So, just be easy, baby. Today is Friday. I hope Miss Sharon is in the chat talking about it's Friday. That's her thing. I love it. Hopefully for most of you, by the time you see this, work is ending or over or about to end, and you're ready to head into the weekend and see what you're going to get into. I think we are putting up some lights. So we needed some lights out by the chicken coop. So I think we're going to put that up. I think I need to continue staining. I need to finish some staining. I finished painting this fence and I've just been getting my garden stuff ready. Make sure you check out after this at 3 today. So after this video on my other channel, I'm kind of talking about the seeds, not really seeds, but roots and different things I'm going to start preparing, if you will, for my garden. So in the month of February, stuff that you can still do, stuff that you can do to kind of get going. People are about, you know, in the mindset to starting seeds. Again, I'm not really big on starting actual seeds, but I'm gonna walk you through my game plan of what I'm doing, how I'm utilizing my indoor garden, how I'm utilizing some stuff that I just want to get rooted right, and then just get it way more advanced before I do plant it. So I'll walk you through all of that on my other channel. I'm still probably like 1,500 hours away from, you know, trying to get that monetized. There's just not the traffic over there. Thank you for those of you that support me and go to that channel and watch those videos for me. Thank you. I do appreciate that. And we'll just keep it pushing. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And thank you for coming and visiting with me and sitting with me today in today's live. And I will see you guys on the next video tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye.